And we're joined by Mr. Greg Hart of Cats and Space. How you doing, Greg, mate?
I'm very well, thank you very much, Lee. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you, mate. Obviously, last time we spoke to you, you were all set to release Atlantis, which obviously stunning album once again, mate.
Was that long ago? Blimey.
Yeah, it was just before you released Atlantis that we spoke last time, mate. So yeah, been a little while,
hasn't it? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that went very well.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and rightly so. Like I said at the time, it's a great album, and you're now set to release Diamonds Best of Collection. Obviously, not your standard best of as such, because there's reworkings and Damon's voice is obviously on the tracks.
That's right. Yeah.
What made you decide to do it now, mate?
It was originally just going to be a promotional tool that we were going to use to put out in Germany, because over the last kind of 18 months or so, we've been trying to kind of get a bit more of a foothold over there, because it's been a bit slow for us. A few things didn't happen as it should have done back in the kind of time when we were touring. So we got a really good PR representative out there. In fact, we've got two out there. And as things progressed, and then obviously Dames joined the band, we needed something to ease the confusion of promoting songs that were by Paul, the new singer. So we just, when Dames first came down to sing with us, he just sang a batch of old songs, just purely out of intrigue to see how he would sound and whether he liked it and how we all fitted together. And he just smashed it out, doing 259 and Thunder in the Night, and he did Too Many Gods, obviously, and a whole batch of them. And they were just so good, and they just sounded so good. We said, well, look, let's use this as a promo tool to go to Germany and kind of put a foothold down. And with the COVID thing kicking in, it was a good opportunity to kind of draw a line in the sand, if you like, because everybody's going to have to kind of pick up and find a new way of doing things. We thought, well, that's the perfect opportunity for us to do it in a funny sort of way. And so as we kind of got them all together and we got them remastered and we spent a few quid on it, it was like, this is going to be really, really good. It'd be a shame if the fans don't have the opportunity to actually kind of hear some of this.
Yeah, definitely.
So we did a couple of little videos like of 259 and I can't remember another one, I think. And the response was so amazing. We thought, would you guys like to get this on a CD or on an album, or would you rather we don't tinker with our history? Because I come from the firm school of, I don't like bands that tinker with their history. I think songs should be left alone, leave them as they are. It's all a document, and then move on kind of thing. And I don't really like this kind of like re-recording of the greatest album that some of these bands have done. It doesn't stick with me. And so I'm kind of being a bit two-faced, really. Because I shouldn't be doing it, but because this line in the sand was drawn because of COVID, and we haven't really got much of a foothold in Germany to that point, I thought, why not? If people don't like it, they don't have to put up with it. But as it transpires, it's sold extremely well. The pre-orders have been absolutely phenomenal. So what do I know?
So when obviously Damon came to jam with you guys first, and like you're saying, he was jamming on your back catalogue, then was there any particular song where there was the moment where you went, that's the guy?
Well, basically he came in to sing backing vocals originally. And Mick was away and locked in everywhere, and obviously Mick Wilson always, he's my kind of writing partner stroke, he sings and does loads of stuff on the albums with us. But Atlantis was going to be a different thing, and I was going to be on my own a lot more because of the situation. And I think I needed to kind of stand on my own 2 feet a bit, possibly, and run with it, which I did. So I thought, well, it'd be really good. I'd really fancy making Atlantis a slightly different vibe from the other albums. And what better way than to get Damien in to sing some really big, powerful backing vocals, similar to how Jeff Brown sings. I thought more vocals, the better. So Dames came down, and of course the way things transgressed, with Mark and stuff, and things didn't work out and whatever. But Damien sang on a song called Marionettes first off. And he sang the BVs on that. and there was a bit in the middle section, like a mid-late section, that was very theatrical, and it's his big, strong vocal. And he did these amazing backing vocals that were just so powerful. I thought, cool, blimey, you know, let's leave them in the bin for now, and you know, see how things progress. And when things didn't map out with Mark the way they were meant to, we recalled Dames up and said, look, if the job came up, would you fancy having a go? And he went, yeah, well, I'm not doing nothing at the moment. So he came back down and re-sang Marionettes, but as a lead vocal and with these backing vocals in place as well. And it was just, I mean, within 5 seconds, it was like, he is the guy for us.
Yeah, he's the guy for us.
No doubt about it. Ian Capel, you know, our engineer, he just looked round at me and was flabbergasted. And I went, oh God, this is really good, isn't it? He's got that theatrical bent that really indulges into the song. You know, he really embeds himself in it. And our stuff needs that. You know, you can't sell a song with a lyric like Marionettes unless the singer really, truly immerses himself in it. And Damien just does it naturally.
So he comes from quite a theatre background, doesn't he, Damien?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's come from, like, done War of the Worlds, and he's done the Roy Orbison story, and he's done Elvis. I mean, he does the best Elvis impersonation I've ever heard, bar none. I mean, he really does sound like Elvis. It's hilarious. I mean, in fact, we've got some stuff recorded that we just let the tape roll because he's very, very funny. You might not realise it, but he's a very funny guy, and he does his amazing Elvis. So anyway, he was doing all this stuff, and we said, well, look, why don't we sing a few old songs just to see how you'd sound on the old material, and if that works out, let's progress with Atlantis, and you know, the job's yours if you want it. So ironically, he said, oh, I really like that song 259, which we've never done live, we've never attempted to do it live. We got the track up and he sang that in one go, and that's the version that's on the album, one go. But not only that, he then went on to sing a song called Seasons Change. Now, Seasons Change was a song that was left over from Scarecrow. And we never quite got the right mix on it. We never quite got the vocals to sit just as it was. It was a hell of a mix. It was the most bonkers mix I think we've ever done. And there was too much stuff going on. So we stripped it all back, and Dames just went and had a go at it. I said, look, see what you think. And he sang that Seasons Change in one go as well as 259. Wow. And that is the version that is on the Atlantis album. That is the actual take. So what you hear on Seasons Change on the album is the only pass. That's the only thing he did.
Wow.
And the minute he did that, we just went, oh, you know, we're in the presence of a godlike singer, you know. And then, yeah, he just rattled off, and over about 2 or 3 days, he literally rattled through the song. So Marionettes was the first kind of thing he had a go at, but the proper first song he sang was 259 and Seasons Change.
That's amazing, man. That he did. I mean, those aren't small songs to sing, you know what I mean? There's certain songs that if someone said, oh, they did it in one take, you'd be like, well, it's cool if you get anything down in one take, but to do songs with such a big range that appears on both those.
I mean,
such a big vocal.
They're massive. I mean, most of our songs are pretty big vocals, to be fair, because we do stretch. And it's very much a case of lightning in a bottle. You've just got to get it quick, because performances like that you can't keep doing over and over again because you lose all the vibe, you know. So you either get it early on, or you leave it and come back to it much later and have a fresh go at it. But Dames just don't hang about. He just knows how to do this stuff, you know. It's quite uncanny, you know, to have someone come in on what was 4 albums worth of material, and no matter what song we threw at him, you honestly thought he'd been singing the songs all his life. I've never heard anything like it, to be fair. It's quite a unique thing.
Were there any songs from your back catalogue that you wanted to include on this collection that you didn't get around to doing, or that just didn't work out? Or
loads, to be fair. I mean, we could have rattled through it, all the albums. I mean, there's a few bonus songs we've got still tucked away in the drawer, but you know, they might come out at some point. There's a couple of real nice things that we've recorded that we'll reveal later on as well. So we've been very busy in the studio all throughout lockdown. We've not just been doing the Atlantis album, we've been laying the seeds for a lot of stuff, because you never know what's going to happen. So we thought, well, why are we not doing nothing? Let's keep recording and keep doing stuff. And Dames just loves to sing. So we've done live stuff. We've done, you know, live versions, acoustic versions. There was, I would say, the only song that we didn't do, ironically enough, was Mad Hatter's Tea Party, because of the way James's voice is, as opposed to Paul's. The key wasn't too high for him, but it just wasn't sitting in the pocket because of the way James only sings in a full voice. His falsetto is exceptionally high, and full voice goes very high. But it also, he doesn't like to kind of not do one or the other. It's quite complicated, but there's a bit in Mad Hatter where the high note, which Paul sings as a kind of a falsetto note, Damien wanted to do it as a full note, and it was just a tiny bit too high. So we left that song. In fact, we worked our way of doing it now, ironically, but at the time, but so we'll probably get around to doing a live version of Mad Hatter, like it was on the stream that we did.
Oh right, yeah, that was great, that live stream, by the way.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was 2 days rehearsal, then go and shoot it. You know, I mean, Dame's literally only been with us for 2 run-throughs. It was
wow.
Yeah, but it was the hardest thing we've ever done, to be fair, because those streams are hard work, because you've got to, if something goes wrong, you've got to do the song again full bore as if it's the only time you've done it. But most of those songs we had to play full on 3 or 4 times each, and we were knackered.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. I mean, if it had been a live gig in front of an audience, racked through the whole lot, job done. But because it was the way it was, a few things went wrong with the camera angles and stuff, and we had to redo it all. And it was, yeah, not something I'd want to do again, to be fair.
No, but was that a KK Steamwheel that you did that?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I love that venue. It's a great venue.
Yeah, great back screen there we got there. No, it's a great place, a good setup, very fabulous gig. I hope it does really well, because it's it's going to be one of the best gigs in the UK, probably, I think.
Yeah, it's getting a really good reputation as a venue to play, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. So did you were you involved in the engineering and the production of this best of then as well? Because obviously normally you've got your hand in.
Well, yeah, as normal, it's Ian Capel, who's our trusty engineer. He engineers everything with me. I kind of sit there and produce and shout and point and direct things, and Ian, bless him, sits there and tries to make it all work. But we've known each other for such a long time. We've got a very good kind of working relationship, because he's exceptionally laid back. And I think we bring the best out of each other. And he's also, he's done it all. He's worked with Adamant, Kate Bush, Aha, Wild Arts, everybody. He's done everything. So he knows what you're trying to achieve, and it's just then a case of him doing it, basically. And I sit there and assist as producer, and the band obviously all chip in when they come in and do their various bits as well, and then I either take it on board or I ignore them. No, that's not fair. No, they've all got good ideas. I mean, they're all proper musos, their lot. They're such good players. They trust me 100%. And that's the good thing about it, is that we all trust each other, but you don't get any of these kind of too many cooks trying to in and say, oh, my guitar's louder, I want this, oh, I can't hear that. They know that the end result's going to be good, and they're happy to let me and Ian get on and do it the best we can.
That's what I really liked about the sound in Atlantis, because everything cut through so well, properly, not like battling with each other, but you could hear, you hear the drum parts, you get it. I'm a bass player, so I was naturally listening out for Jeff. You can hear each single part without it battling with each other.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it's Atlantis. Right at the beginning, I sat down with Ian and I said, I don't know how we're going to get there. I don't really care how we're going to get there, but we just have to get there. And there is an album that was going to just kind of stand out from the others. Not kind of dissing the other albums at all, but we needed to make a mark a little bit more like Cats Are Live. And it was very much a case of, I saw it as our kind of Queen sheer heart attack kind of moment, where everything just went up another little notch. Because again, we're learning from the other albums of what works and what doesn't work. Sometimes we can go down a few dead ends. I mean, nobody sees the man hours that we all put in that don't go anywhere. The dead ends, the bad stuff that doesn't work, the guitar solos that were brilliant at the beginning of the album, but by the time we get around to mixing it, we've kind of thought, no, that's solo. Yeah, we're very picky about our stuff, and we can reshoot stuff in at the last minute as well. I mean, I've had me and Dean have redone guitars right up on the mix before, you know. But what was good was we made a point of getting Jeff to play how he plays live, and really.
He's a really heavy on those strings live, and I've always liked that when I've seen you guys.
And funnily enough, we thought we might be going a little bit too brave on it. We might, you know, a bit too much like John Entwistle. But the first thing people said was, God, the sound of that bass and the drums, and you know, it's the whole thing went a bit more ferocious. And I think it was Spaceship Superstar. When we got that up on a rough mix, I went, good God, this is really good. And we just made the whole album go to that kind of level. So it was. It takes a long time. I mean, we don't sit there on computers and do it off of plugins, and we do use plugins and we do use computers, but we do try and do it as old school as we can, and it's really expensive. I mean, our albums, you know, you can't knock them out for a couple of grand, you know, and I like to think that shows when you hear the end product, you know. I mean, that's the whole point, is to produce an album that can sit up there with the best of the 70s. You know, when you had your ELO and your Boston and your Queen and your Thin Lizzy and your UFO, you know, I want our albums to be able to stand up to those kind of productions. And if they can't, then I don't think we've done a good enough job, you know. So we don't want any less than that, but it comes at a huge price, of course.
Yeah, of course it does, especially these days when everybody is, like you say, doing it in their bedrooms with a laptop and, you know, whatever software that they're using. And
you can do so much on it. I mean, it's useful for when you're comping, when you're trying to get all your backing vocals grit to it. I wouldn't say it properly and record, you know, it excites me. And if I'm not excited, I don't want to do it. I don't want to be there, and I get bored. So it is quite selfish, you know, but that was the whole point of Cats in Space when we started. We wanted to do something for us, our way, no compromise. And if we didn't get excited by it, what's the point of doing it?
Yeah, I think that always shines through in anyone's music, like when people are doing stuff for themselves and from what's coming from their heart and their soul, for want of a better term, that always shines through better than, you know, oh, well, everyone else does it this way, or that sounds popular, so we'll try and go with that. So why would you be anything else but yourselves on your records?
Well, exactly. And again, that's why when we started, you know, some people don't like us, some people love us, some people think we're the best thing since Queen, you know, whatever their verdict is, it's we're coming from the right place. We're coming from what's in there in our hearts, you know, because it's we've never compromised, never looked over our shoulder, never thought, well, actually, lads, if we want to crack on, we need to make our production and sound more like so and so because they're getting on the radio. It's like, why? We did that in the 80s, and you end up chasing your tail, and you're always one step behind. I'd rather people eventually catch up with us and go, actually, I like what they do, rather than us trying to sound like the next whoever. I'd done all that as kids in the 80s, trying to be Bon Jovi, and then Bon Jovi went to Survivor or to whoever, you know, and then everybody went into grunge, you know. And there's no point doing that, you know. You've got to do your own thing and be truthful to yourself, and hopefully people will at least respect you for it if they don't actually like it, you know.
Yeah. This is the thing, how many music documentaries do you watch where bands have lost their way a little bit because they've gone and done what you said of like chasing that new sound that's coming in or that new scene that's coming in, and then all their fans who like them go, what the hell are you doing? This isn't you. And then they go off and find something else.
They never even knew what they wanted to do in the first place. That's the thing. That, you know, it's, you know, you've got to have a path. You know, you're back your great bands like Queen and you know, stuff, you know, especially Queen, you know, they were the torchbearers of what they were doing. They just went, we're just going to make music whatever way we want to do it, and if people like it, great. If you don't, jog on, you know. And I just think that is the best thing, because it's true, you know. And we wouldn't suddenly down tools and go, our next album's going to sound like AC/DC. No point. I'd do a song like AC/DC, but I wouldn't do 10, you know. It's no point, you know. You should always do what you really believe in and not look over your shoulder too much, because if you do that, you're just wasting energy and wasting time, you know. Bands need to find their own identity and stick to it and believe in it, because if you believe in it, you know, you can push through, rather than go, oh, this doesn't work, oh, well, they're doing that now, let's go and sound like them. Seen all that in the 80s, it was just a joke, you know. It was laughable seeing these bands that started off trying to be Thin Lizzy, then all of a sudden Journey come out, and all of a sudden they've gone and got a keyboard player that can't play keyboards, but he can go dat, and they all want to be like Journey, but it's pointless, you know. I thought that was hilarious back in the day, really, whereas we actually did want to be Journey, and we and get a proper keyboard player, you know. It's a funny old thing. Just be truthful to yourself. That's what I would say.
This is it. This is all you should do in life. No matter what you're doing, if you're doing it like being honest about yourself, and no matter who your influences are and what music you're making or whatever you're doing, like whatever artwork it is, you know.
Absolutely, Thunder being a classic example. Our good buddies Thunder, you know, when they were in Terraplane, which was I thought Terraplane were a superb band. I used to see them all the time, and you know, Luke wrote some amazing songs. You know, very cheap, trick orientated, but they were bullied by the record company. They had to do this, had to do that to get on telly. They got all the breaks, but didn't actually do anything. And then one day they went, stuff this, let's just be a rock and roll band. And then they became Thunder, boom. And everybody bought into it in droves because it was real. And the timing was good as well. And I wish to God I'd had a piece of that back then, because we were deadly jealous of Thunder, because 2 Les Pauls, proper old school rock and roll. And I thought, oh God, that's the way to do it. And they're still going 30 odd years later now because of it. So
yeah, still going strong, still writing. You know, last album was fantastic. Great album.
Superb album.
Yeah,
all their albums are good. I mean, Thunder, the quality.
Well, that was the first time, like I said to you last time, that was the first time I saw you guys was out on the road with Thunder.
Yeah, it's tremendous. That was, it feels like yesterday, but it was about 5 years ago now.
It was, yeah. I think I had hair then.
Yeah, I had a few marbles as well. They've long gone now.
But speaking of live shows, obviously you got your tour coming up. Finally getting to do out some shows and support. And then it's obviously nothing being able to happen for 18 months. You're also part of that, playing the Epic Studios in Norwich, which I'll be at, so I'll see you there, mate.
Yeah, Norwich Epic. Yeah, we need people there because that's right in the outback over there. So yeah, that's a good venue. The Epic.
It's a really good venue. Yeah, I've seen a few things there. It's a really good venue. It doesn't get like, well, when I lived in Norwich, I think it's getting better now. But when I lived in Norwich, it didn't get used as much as it should have done. It's a great venue, but they're starting to get a better reputation, which is fantastic because the setup they've got is awesome. Yeah,
it is really good, but it is a very hard sell. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's the whole tour is a hard sell because we're going out very early, and you know, without going into too much detail of it, you know, when we had to bounce our tour back twice, when we moved it to September, we honestly thought we'd have had a lot longer run up to sell the tickets properly with people being confident. But then they kept delaying that lockdown, didn't they? Back in March to April. I was like, oh no, this is going to kill us. But so had it gone when it should have gone, I think we'd have been a little bit easier. But it's left it so late. We're under no illusion that it's going to be very, very hard to sell enough tickets because people don't have the confidence and they're going to leave it till the last minute. So it's not good for the old stress at the minute because it's tough out there and people are still worried and scared and, you know, being a bit kind of, you know, there's a lot of scaremongering out there and a lot of conspiracy people out there, and it doesn't cause for a good atmosphere. You know?
It doesn't do anyone's mental health good, that kind of.
And what we can do on Facebook is to keep saying to people, look, guys, you know, we are doing this tour. It's going to be great. You're going to be safe.
Yeah.
You know, everyone come out and have a good time. You know, we've got a new stage, you know, set, you know, with the songs and stuff. We're going to do a lot of songs from Atlantis. You know, it's a new beginning for us and it's going to be amazing. So just come on out and, you know, and be confident, you know. And I think the festivals are a good starter for it. The Rock and Blues was a good starter, but people were still quite wary. You know, it was a little bit of a weird atmosphere there, but it was still really excellent. But
I was going to ask how that was because that was the same weekend that I had my Just Push Play festival. So yeah, we was, like you say, really early on. And the photos that I saw, obviously I didn't attend because I was obviously organising my shindig, but the photos I saw of Rock and Blues looked great.
It was a brilliant event, and every band said the same thing. We had a great time. Everyone mucked in together. It was all muddy up there, and you know the punters loved it. But there was that slight kind of hesitance.
Yeah.
You know, people just didn't quite go as nuts as maybe they would have done 2 years ago. But I think everyone's forgotten how to do it, and they're trying to learn how to go out to a festival again. You know, we've dumbed down to such an extent. So I think that will increase with Stonedead and the other festivals that are going on, and you know, everyone will find their feet and hopefully, you know, get back to a proper normal soon as. But yeah, but our tour's on. That's the main thing, and we are going ahead with it, and all the dates are live and tickets are available, and we just can't wait. We just literally can't wait to get out there and do it.
That's great. Well, when we air this, mate, I'll put the links up on the socials and all that when we're in this interview. So
yeah, we can. That'd be fabulous. Yeah, because we do need to sell some tickets. The funny enough, the thing we find is when we do the theatres, because obviously we do some theatres and then some of the rock venues. The theatres are our better sellers because they have a better natural kind of sales force within the venue itself and their brochures and mailing lists. So we find that Cats in Space are quite a good theatre band rather than the rock club band, which is harder to sell tickets. So yeah, it's the rock venues that we really need to push. And of course, because they've been shut as well, there's been no footfall, there's been no one seeing what's going on. It's been tough.
I can imagine that. But like you say, you mentioned Stonedead, obviously, which I'm part of the production team for. I know everybody was really excited when Bill and Chris told us that we had you guys for the Friday night. Like I say, obviously, I'll be there I'll coordinate the Friday, so you'll see me running around like an idiot, mate.
Excellent. We can shout at you then from afar.
Oh yeah. You need anything, just throw something at me. You know, get my attention.
No, we can't wait. I mean, we wanted to do Stonedead for quite a while, so to get the opportunity to do it, and obviously you got Wayward Sons as well, who are mates of ours as well. So it's going to be superb. I mean, there's a lot of people who've actually been saying to me over the last 2 years, saying, why don't Wayward Sons and Cats in Space get together and do a tour and get another band in as well and stuff. So at least this is an opportunity to see both bands on the same stage on the same night. And I think it's going to be an awesome night. And we can't wait for that. And it looks like a really good do as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm biased because I'm involved in the production team of it, but it is a festival done by rock fans at the end of the day. You know, that's where it was all set up from. I came in after they sort of started up, really, because I came in from like a website background and helping out on that side of front. But this was set up by guys on the Monsters of Rock and Donington Veterans sort of Facebook page who were sort of
how it should be.
Yeah, just enamored by the grossness and the largeness of Download. I got to, not in a negative way, but rather than it being 3 days and 6 stages, they just wanted 1 day, 1 stage.
Yeah,
great band. And it's evolved slightly now, obviously, because we've got the Friday night, like a little pre-warmer up, which started off as like a DJ thing, and then with everything that had happened with COVID, we decided that we were gonna put on a few bands instead on the Friday. We had done that in 2018. Actually, we had some bands who had, because we always do a heat for the opening act on the main stage, like a little battle of the bands type thing, and it was pretty down to the wire in the first year of who actually got to open the stage, because it was the bands that there was like top 4 and it was like that close. So that's where the Friday sort of came from, really. We had Ford Mafia open it up, but then bands like Unknown Refuge and a few others that were on, we were like, this is so close, we'll just have these guys play. So we set up, and then Cedric Paul, like the pavilion that's within the grounds of the showground, and had it there.
It helps get local bands and new bands to have a chance to get and do something and get seen, but one stage, one event is always my favorite. We did Crop Ready a few years ago, and it was awesome event. Crop Ready is one of the best festivals. It's just the same thing, big arc of people, one massive stage, and it's just superb, and it's like proper old school, proper late 70s kind of going to Reading or something like that, and I mean, Download's great. I mean, it's a spectacle, isn't it? It's
definitely, a
huge event now, but I mean, I would take the one stage setup thing as I like that. It's comfortable, it's not too much hoo-ha, but obviously, we'd want to play Download as well. But
of course,
I think Stonedead's got a great thing. Ramblin' Man had a good thing as well. But
I love Ramblin' Man.
It's a great festival that was, and it's just such a shame that that's fallen off the blocks a bit, because it was such a good festival. Great location, and it's in Maidstone, and it's not much around this way for big festivals, and it was just such a good place. Everyone I know that went to Ramblin' Man said it was their favourite festival.
Well, me and my wife got married at Ramblin' Man.
Really?
Well, we got married in the registry office down the road, and then celebrated the rest of the weekend at Ramblin' Man.
That's great. But
Yeah,
it's a fun place, isn't it? Yeah, it's just a
that's
real
right.
shame. I hope that gets off the ground and someone buys the brand or something, because
Yeah,
it's
I heard something about someone buying the brand or taking it over, and so let's fingers crossed it comes back next year, because it
absolutely.
was a bit like going back to Stonedead. Like it is, you know, I walked in and first year we went, and then Scorpions headlined on the Saturday, and we went in, me and my well then girlfriend, now wife, walked in. It was just that thing. As soon as we walked in, it was like you knew it was full of proper music fans, proper rockers.
Yeah,
Everyone was there for the right reasons, and that just feeds into the atmosphere at
yeah,
any show.
definitely.
So
Yeah, then stick Cats in Space on and we'll do a few ballads and frighten them all off.
everyone loves a ballad, mate. Everyone loves a ballad.
Yeah, no, we got a good festival set anyway. That's the thing. People will see that with us, you know. Once we get up there amongst all these other bands doing their thing, and we just do what we do. It's always a case of you have to remember that when people are singing 30, 40, 50 songs before you go on, and it's all been full on, people actually quite like a little bit of a breather where they can hear themselves think for 5 minutes. So yeah, we never shy away from doing our set because we know that it'll be different, you know. It's
It goes back to being real and being yourself, doesn't it?
absolutely, yeah. There's no point trying to fit your set around what everybody else is doing because it's pointless, you know. It's just carry on doing what you do, you know. So yeah, it's good. We like the festivals. It's also good to see the other bands and just hang out and, you know, talk crap, you know, basically.
I like it when a band proves someone wrong at a festival. I mean, I have no quarrel and hold my hands up for this now, but when Europe did Sonosphere Festival in 2010, I think it was,
Yeah,
I went down to that and I knew the hits, but I didn't know a lot of their back catalogue at that point, I'll be honest. And they were on the Friday, and there was like a half day on the Friday, so there's only like 4 bands all day or whatever. And I thought, oh, I'll go watch Europe. That'll be, you know, a bit of laugh. It could be a bit of fun. Why not? And at the time, they sort of were doing their Last Look at Eden album tour,
yeah,
sort of set, and they were playing also the modern day stuff, was a bit heavier, a bit more
yeah,
bollocks to it. And I was just remember because I didn't. I'll be honest, I wasn't thinking much because I hadn't heard anything they'd done recently. And we stood there watching him, and a mate of mine had seen him ironically at Bloodstock Festival, which is like, I don't know if you know, Bloodstock is like proper thrashy, full on, and then like Europe was in the middle of it. And my mate texted me while he was there, like that was the sort of previous year, saying, "You're not going to believe this, but Europe, fucking brilliant. I'm really enjoying this." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever, Glenn. You're drunk." Yeah. And then,
yeah.
when he saw that like Europe were playing, he
Good
didn't
band.
get to come to Sonosphere with me. He was like, "Make sure you go watch Europe." So I went, and then I ended up texting him going, "Fair enough, you're right."
Yeah, good band.
Brilliant.
They're a very, very good band. Come from the right, you know. I mean, they've got the biggest rock hit of all time, pretty
Oh yeah,
much. You know? But there's a lot more to them than the Final Countdown. But
no,
you
definitely.
know, they're good. We enjoyed when we toured with them in Deep Purple. It was a really good night, you know, because they had 3 good bands on, and
I
it was
bet.
awesome. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, that was definitely the
I
turning
was like
point
to
for me.
see, yeah, when they did the Final Countdown, because we was at the side watching them, and they're going down well, and everybody's like nodding their heads and going, yeah. And the minute they did the Final Countdown, all the phones come out, you know, like
Yeah.
10,000. It's like the power of having a song that well
Oh
known.
god, yeah.
Brilliant, as well as the bank balance.
Well, I always remember like afterwards, after that tour they did, the last clean, it was their Rag of Bones, Bag of Bones. Trying to read it from over there, can't see why. The album after that, we had like Riches to Rags on it and stuff. And we went to go see him at Shepherd's Bush because, like I say, Sonosphere Festival was the turning point for me. And sort of followed them ever since. I think every album they've done since, you know, Last Look at Eden, all that's been great. And like you say, everyone's enjoying it, having a good time. We were up in the balcony at Shepherd's Bush Empire, and we're up in the balcony, and then sure the Final Countdown comes on. Like you say, everyone went mental, and everybody sort of jumping in the team to the keyboard. And
Yeah,
I remember looking over, and where this sort of balcony was sort of meeting the wall, not massively, but you could just see it flexing, and it was just like,
yeah,
I'm really not sure this is safe. I don't know. Look at it.
yeah. No, it does. They have to flex a bit, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice to have a song like that. That's powerful. But who knows? Maybe one of ours will become like that. I mean, Greatest Story Never Told is our kind of evergreen, if you like, that we do at the end of the show. Then, you know,
That always gets a good response anytime I've seen you guys.
sorry.
That always gets a good response anytime I've seen you guys. It seems to be always the bit of the
Yeah,
jewel in the crown.
yeah, it's big epic. You know, it's we always like to do the odd epic on the albums and stuff, but yeah, that one does seem to be our biggie, if you like. But Yeah, it's good. It's all good stuff.
And of course, going back to the Stonedead, the compare for Stonedead, Mr. Crush and Jewel, you guys know very well because he compared your live stream.
Yeah, well, Crusher's been brilliant because I mean, when we got involved just over the talking about a T-shirt on Facebook last year, and I kind of met Crusher 100 years ago back in the London days, you know, but it was just bizarre that the two kind of, you know, camps met via a T-shirt, and we swapped T-shirts, and I sent him the album up, and like he said, he wasn't meant to like it because it's not his cup of tea, and he ends up going absolutely nuts over it, still does. And then it was thanks to him that we got involved with the guys that, you know, did the stream and stuff, House of Tours, and we've all become buddies since. So it just goes to show, doesn't it? You know, you get people like Crusher who are still proper old music fans.
Oh, it's great,
old
Crusher.
bands, you know. I mean, no one helps bands anymore. Everyone's doing their own thing and they've got their own agenda. And there's very few people that really champion rock bands. You know, they're either on the blag trying to get something from Iron Maiden or one of the old lot, you know, or they're not bothering. So to have Crusher, you know, and there's a few other people in classic rock and magazines like that really like Cats as well. So it's really good. But it was nice that Crusher, who shouldn't have liked us, suddenly goes nuts over it. And yeah, we've all become good buddies, and I'm sure he'll give us a good introduction on the night. That's for sure.
He certainly will. I'm sure he will. As I say, because Crusher's obviously compared the last few Stonedead, so I've got to know him. You know, I've got a little bit. He's been good to me. He's done some stuff with Just Push Play Festival, and I've got to know him quite well. He's like you say, he's a sound bloke. And when you were about to release Atlantis and all that, he said to me, "Look, I know Cats, and he knows I've got my radio show and stuff." He goes, "Oh, have you? I don't know if you listen." I was like, "Oh yeah, I saw the guys supporting Thunder." He said, "Oh, they'll be pushing the album league. Get them on your radio show." I was like, oh, "Okay." And then when I got when Stevie sent me the promo copy, obviously ahead of the release of Atlantis, and I listened to that, and then I could obviously see I'd seen Crusher's videos previously when he was talking about how much he'd been enjoying it. So I sent him a message just sort of saying, "Hey Crusher, you know, you weren't wrong about this album, mate. It's fucking brilliant. You know, really enjoying this." And he just messaged me back saying, "Well, I'll be honest with you, Lee, it's not normally my sort of thing, and I wanted to hate it, but it's so good I fucking couldn't." And I was like,
wanted to hate it but couldn't. So resistance is fertile, as we say. You know, we get everybody eventually. That's the goal. You know,
it just goes to show, man, if it's good music, it doesn't matter what sort of thing you normally like.
The main thing is just being respected for it. Is whether you like it or don't like it. That's not the issue. The issue is just at least be respected for it, and you know, leave it at that kind of thing. But yeah, we can win over anybody when we know that. To be honest, we've always said, if you know, come and see us at a gig, and if you go at the end of the gig and say we're still shit, then fair enough. But we know we got songs that will blow their faces off, and we got songs that will compete with anybody. You know, and that's not us being big-headed. That's just we've proven that by playing with two of the biggest rock bands in the world. You know, Deep Purple and Status Quo. You know, they've got some of the most well-known songs ever written, and yet we went down very well with their audiences, and we did an admirable job. And I thought, well, that's got to be down to the songs. It's not down to 20-minute guitar solos and drum solos and blowing yourself up on stage. It's down to songs, you know. So yeah, we're always confident that we can get anybody from Crusher to, I don't know, anybody. You know, Boris Johnson, who cares? No, we'll win them over with some of our songs.
So what would you say to anybody who's come to Stonedead who hasn't seen you before, to get them down there?
Buy our T-shirt. No, come and see us. You'll love it. You might not get all of it. You might not like all of it, but you will like it. And the fact of the matter is, the guys are good. We're all good lads, and we just have a good time. And we write songs and we play songs how it used to be in the old days, and that bemuses people nowadays, especially the kids. They're not used to hearing melody and structure and middle eights and 3-part harmonies that blow your face off. You know, it's shocking that so many people have forgotten that. You know, they're just not used to it now. Back where we come from, you expected it. You know, you expected Boston to blow your face off with guitar harmonies and vocals, you know, and Queen to do what they do, and Thin Lizzy and such, and Kiss to do what they do. Nowadays, it's almost like you don't expect it. People just expect this kind of one-dimensional rock song to come out and do whatever it does. You know, it sounds good on someone's iPhone. That's not us, you know.
No.
So come and see us and see how it was done in the old days. That's what I say.
That was done properly. So Greg,
Well, our way. I wouldn't say done properly, but we do it our way.
anyway.
The bands do it their way. You know, everyone's valid. You know, every
Oh,
band
yeah.
is valid. You know, it's like, you know, I'm not popping at anybody. You know, all these young bands and whatever, what they do is valid. You know, it's brilliant. But come and see us do it how it used to be done. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. So, mate, it's been good to catch up with you. Just one more thing before I let you go, buddy. At the beginning of the interview, I'm going to play Scarecrow off the Greatest Hits because it's one of my favourite Cats of Space songs, and it's great to hear Damon's vocals on it. But what song of it would you like, or song of yours would you like us to play at the end?
Oh, that's a damn good question. What is it, off Atlantis, or could it be any track?
Off any track out from your career, mate.
Oh, blimey. I mean, I would normally say Fell Out Love with Rock and Roll, but that's kind of been pushed quite a lot now. But I'll tell you what, let's do a curveball. Put on Magic Loving Feeling off of Atlantis.
Okay, mate. Yeah, I'm up for that.
Get the old voice box going. So I did the old Peter Frampton voice box on that track, and it's a lot of people's favourite song actually. That's had a lot of comments that, and had it been a different situation with COVID last year, that would have come out as a single.
Oh, okay.
But the way things went, it wasn't worth it because everything got closed down again. But that was going to be the next single. So yeah, stick that out and say that's the pretend single that never was.
Oh man, we'll go with that. And thanks for your time as always, dude. And I'll see you Stonedead, mate.
Absolutely, Lee. Take care, mate. See you soon. Love a beer.
Take care, pal.
Cheers now. Bye bye.